All right, Steven, how you doing, man?
I'm good, thanks.
Well, thanks for hopping on and doing this. Why don't we just start with who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Sure. My name's Stephen Cullen. I'm from Toronto, in Canada, and I'm a singer and multi instrumentalist, and I produce music for other artists as well.
Awesome. And where are you now?
Right now, I'm in Costa Rica, escaping the lockdown that's happened once again in Toronto.
The beauty of remote work.
The beauty of remote work. Yep, just a little MIDI controller and the MacBook.
Exactly, man. Beautiful. Uh, well, hey, what were things like in the business before we worked together last year? What were things like beforehand, as far as like why you wanted some help with the production business or what new things you were trying to explore? What were things like back then before we started working together?
Before we started working together, I was doing a lot of kind of trial and error sort of work. I knew what I was doing as far as production goes, but you've really helped me to bridge the gap between just kind of spraying and praying and being more specific with finding artists and having a good match as far as that goes.
Yeah. So is the biggest thing like consistency with clients? Because
Yeah.
you had some clients when we started.
Yeah, I had some clients when we started, and before we met, I was having trouble identifying who was going to be a good match for me, and who I would be a good match for, and where to find those people. Had maybe some ideas, but the processes of turning that into sort of a routine cycle of finding these people was not clear to me.
Right. Gotcha. Well, what about, so we worked together for a number of months there, and what are things like now in the business? What sort of change? What are some, whatever wins you want to share or realizations or new things that have helped you?
So working with you has really helped me to figure out some specifics on economy of effort, of like how much time or money or how many resources I have to spend over a certain period of time, and break that down very simply to what works for me and where to point those efforts to be most efficient in what I'm trying to accomplish for both myself and artists that I'm trying to work with. Some big wins for me have been I've found myself working with, I've got to say, like 5 times more people who are definitely more qualified as far as the artistic sensibilities go in our matchup. I find that if it was a date, I'm going on better dates with these people, and they are enjoying that as well, as far as like what they're making and how happy they are with the result. You've really helped me to establish a sense of trust more efficiently and more deeply with the people that I'm connecting with.
Awesome. So increase the amount of clients, rates increases there.
Yeah.
I forgot where do we start and where do we end up as far as like full song production rates?
Yeah, we started at about like 150 to 300 before we met. That's what I was kind of at, and moved up to a minimum of 600 as sort of a beginning feeling this out, and upwards of 1200 for a basic song production.
Love it. Awesome, man. Cool. So obviously there's a lot of different ways to get help out there. I guess what attracted you to Dark Label or myself specifically?
I first was introduced to you on a online conference that was happening. You were giving a speech, and I just thought that the way you explained things was, it just made a lot of sense. There wasn't a lot of fancy language around it. And I felt like your journey was very similar to what a lot of artists or producers are experiencing right now, where you kind of need to be able to talk to everyone. You need to be able to touch on multiple steps of the journey of conceiving a song and to releasing it. I felt like you had an excellent idea of what that journey was, and how to speak to people who are on various steps of that journey, which is where I was at, being an artist, trying to produce for myself and trying to produce for others. I felt like you had the most to offer me as far as the learning goes.
Cool. Awesome, man. Yeah, that was a fun conference. And it was cool because it was actually for artists. But you never, Michael, who was running that conference, is a friend of mine. And yeah, you never know who you're going to meet doing that stuff. So yeah, I'm glad we met from that. Last thing would just be any advice you may give someone who was in your same position when you started, right? Like maybe charging 150 to 300 a song, kind of stuck at that rate, not really sure how to get clients. Like what, I guess, advice, it could be general or whatever you want it to be. Doesn't have to be high or damn, but what actual tangible advice would you give to someone who may be in that position now?
I would say look at what you're trying to do with your efforts and find what is the most what's up front. What's your top offer as far as helping someone out? What's your level of expertise? What's up there? And really refine that and use it to support everything else you're trying to accomplish. Like for me, my production offerings were what I was really able to offer someone and monetize rather than like, I don't know, serving tables or working a side hustle, that kind of thing. This was kind of what I spent the most time learning. It's like, okay, I'm going to focus on developing this as a professional service and go out and get what it needs. So I did sort of like, I'd say, do an audit of what your specialty is and then fill in the gaps with the learning you need. And in this case, hiring you was what I really needed.
Got it. Cool. Love that advice, man. Well, I'm going to let you get back to sunny Costa Rica because don't need to keep you on a screen all day if you got the ocean out there. But yeah, thanks so much for doing this. And I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Dan.